August 28th of this year will certainly be a special anniversary for longtime college and Olympic coach George Raveling, who's currently the international basketball consultant for Nike. August 28th will mark the 40th anniversary of the March on Washington for Jobs and Freedom, a massive, peaceful march in support of civil rights legislation. On that day in 1963, a young George Raveling was present to witness one of the most dynamic speeches in history, Martin Luther King's "I Have a Dream" speech. To be present for an event so historic is memorable, but it is the speech itself and a chance encounter with Dr. King which link Raveling to the man and to the march. Here's Jim Huber.
For George Raveling, that moment came on a sweltering August day in 1963, when his life would change forever. He was fresh out of Villanova, searching for something, when he and a friend ventured onto the Washington Mall the night before the march.
We were walking around and we encountered a gentleman, and we started a conversation. He said, "Hey, are you guys coming tomorrow?" We said, "Yeah, that's why we're in town." And he said, "Would you have any interest in working tomorrow?" And we said, "Well, what will we have to do?" He said, "Well, we're really short on security people." They were expecting around 250,000 people. As it turned out, they got close to 500,000 people. So he said, "We could use you." And so we said, "Fine, we'll do it." And so the next morning, we were all excited, woke up early. We were supposed to be there at 9 o'clock, and we got there at 8. So we were the first ones to show. And so he said, "Look, you guys can work up on the security at the speaker's podium."
Were you warned of threats against his life?
I don't think there was any imminent threat to King's life or any of the other dignitaries. I think that they had made a promise to themselves that we're going to show the world that we can do this, and we can do it in a respectful and orderly manner.
It was the 100th anniversary of the Emancipation Proclamation, and yet only that month had a civil rights bill been sent to Congress. They were there in the shadow of Lincoln as the conscience of a beleaguered people. Finally, as the summer sun began to tease the tops of the monuments, young George Raveling heard the stirring crescendo. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., the day's 16th speaker, began what was to become one of the most famous orations of the 20th century.
I am happy to join with you today in what will go down in history as the greatest demonstration for freedom in the history of our nation.
There's a cadence and a rhythm to his speech that captured you.
I have a dream that one day this nation will rise up and live out the true meaning of its creed. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal. Everyone electrified by his words. One of the most emotional moments that I've ever realized in my lifetime. When we allow freedom to ring, when we let it ring from every village and every hamlet, from every state and every city, we will be able to speed up that day when all of God's children, black men and white men, Jews and Gentiles, Protestants and Catholics, will be able to join hands and sing in the words of the old Negro spiritual, "Free at last, free at last, thank God Almighty, we are free at last."
And so the speech is over, and what happens then?
There's a massive ovation, and people are moving around, and I happened to slide up to the podium, and for some reason I said, "Dr. King, could I have that copy?" And he turned and handed it to me.
George Raveling coached college basketball for 31 years at Washington State, Iowa, and Southern Cal, before turning to television and a position with Nike. The speech, 1,740 words on 3 pages, has been with him every step of the way. But its echoes and not its typeset, for the one delivered that afternoon varies dramatically from the one under glass in Raveling's home.
you'll see, as if you put the listen to the speech on audio, you'll see that many times he shortens sentences, he changes words, but he stays with the basic content until we get down toward this portion here on the last page, on page 3, and at this point he begins to deviate from the speech and he goes into the "I have a dream" part. The media gave the speech the title "I Have a Dream." The speech actually never had a title.
The idea of having a dream is important to all of us. I mean, have you emphasized that over the years with the kids that you've coached?
Most certainly. I not only do I emphasize it with the players I coached, I emphasize it on a constant basis when I speak. The key thing is, once you have that dream, is to work diligently to make that dream become a reality.
When you think about seminal moments in one person's life, I mean, this is pretty special for you.
It had a significant impact on me because, one, it made me want to become a public speaker. It made me realize that each of us, in our own manner, have an obligation to fight injustice, injustice at any level of society.
This home in West Los Angeles is a gallery. There are original works and first editions. And yet the most important of them all goes back to a bank vault when we're finished.
What is your favorite part of this?
It'll be one of the most significant days of my life or in the life of America when we can truly say,
Free at last! Free at last! Thank God Almighty! We are free at last!
We're free from prejudice, we're free from injustice, we're free from all those things that separate us as people and races.
That is an amazing story, with George Raveling going to Washington expecting to be just one of 500,000 people there to experience it, winds up standing next to Dr. King and then winds up with the speech. It's stunning.
You know, it's amazing. And, you know, me and Kenny were watching the speech. CNN was replaying the speech, and I called my daughter because I want her to learn about Dr. King, and I made her watch the whole speech again and call, and she said, because anytime it's on, I want her to watch it, because I think he's the most underrated American person in my lifetime. He's never really gotten the credit and respect he deserved.
Well, if you look at what he stands for and what he is about, he's what all of us which we had inside of us. So it's just a great day.
And that one of those speeches that 40 years almost later, still every time you hear.
I look forward every year to the holiday, because the speech never, I mean, I've heard it many times, but we just sit there in the green room tonight and watch, and it was still emotional.
It's tired, and it was.
We will be back with more on Inside the NBA, presented by Hyundai, in just a minute.